Hello, everybody. I'm Adam.
And I'm Mari.
And we are AM Vintage.
Welcome, everybody. We're excited. Are you excited?
We're very excited. We've been waiting for this for such a long time, Mari.
And it's been a while since we've done a video. I feel like we're new to this again.
It's almost like I feel like we went into retirement and now we're like, you know what? We can't take it anymore. We're coming back.
We're coming back, especially for this occasion, right? Because it's for what?
Here we go. Ready? I'm gonna do a big dramatic entrance for this. Ready?
And we need a drum roll.
I'm not doing a drum roll. I'm gonna do this. Ready? Dun 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 boom 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 boom. There it is, everybody.
Oh gosh, what everybody's been expecting. It's so exciting to receive this book. We actually received it a couple of days ago, but we were done with the book in a sense because we did the audio, which we were able to download. We actually had to pay for it on Spotify, correct?
Yeah.
So yes, we're excited that we were able to get it done. I think I got it done within maybe 2 or 3 days.
You did it in about 2.5 days. I did it in one night.
Yeah. He was able to get it done. And also just through work and stuff, we just haven't had the time. It's been busy.
It's been busy, but we were very excited. Mm-hmm. And the book, we ordered it from Graceland.
We did.
And I figured, Graceland would ship this thing they would make it so that we'd get it the day it comes out,
Yeah.
No. The book comes out. Everybody has the book.
Everybody's read it. Everybody's posting.
They're posting photos of the book, and it's
excerpts of the book. I mean, people were just getting everything done. I was like, what?
We didn't get it until 4 days later.
Right. So
we didn't want to wait. So we got on Spotify.
Did the audio, and we're like, bam, we're done. We caught up.
I'm sure a lot of other people have seen this, but here's the autograph, the Riley autograph that comes with the book.
It's really nice.
Mari was saying, what kind of autograph is that?
It almost looks like it's just little birds.
Yeah. And I know some people might be thinking, did she really sign that? It's like, no, she did actually sign it. There's a video of her signing.
There's little clips of her, Yeah,
and that's exactly what her signature is right there. So make of it what you will.
Yeah.
But it's a great picture. Right?
Yep. So you guys, we will be talking about this book, and we're hoping that you guys will be joining us.
I'm sorry, Maria. I thought you were going to say, we will be getting this framed. Yeah, which we will.
But we're hoping that you'll join us because today we're going to be discussing it. Not only just giving our review of it, but we're also just going to be giving our own takes about what we thought about it. And
all that jazz.
And all that jazz that everybody's wanting to know.
Yeah.
Especially about Priscilla.
So if you're interested in anything like that, if you're interested in the Lisa Marie Presley book, then stay tuned because we're going to be talking all about that coming up next.
My baby, she done me wrong. My baby, she paid. My baby took her down to the river where she lived out the last long day. She never should have broke my heart. She never should have lied. My baby, she done me wrong, and that's why my baby died.
All right, everybody, welcome back to AM Vintage.
I'm breathing heavily for this. I feel like so much is there.
Yeah.
Obviously,
you've been a little bit nervous about doing this.
I have been. Part of the reason is not only because of, obviously, it's Lisa's book, but another thing is because of, I think she went through so much, and I feel like I kind of carried that for her. In the last few days, because I actually cried even during sometimes that I was listening through it. It's just it's emotional. It's very sad.
It's very sad. It's emotional. There's not.
But I also felt myself relating to her in a lot of things, which I never thought. This sounds weird to people, but you know how you say you could actually relate to this person. I actually felt like her and I had a lot of things in common, and that would have been so cool, like to have a friend like her, because we're both tomboyish, very headstrong, stubborn. You know,
I think a lot of people, Mari. I think a lot of people, probably more women than men.
Yeah.
Read this book and actually were like, wow, I relate to Lisa.
So much.
You know?
Yeah.
With different experiences that she had.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do with being Elvis's daughter.
Right.
It was just that she was so down to earth. And it's amazing how people say, regardless of money or where you come from, people are people, and we're going to be able to relate to them whether we're rich or not.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't
matter.
Like
I didn't even see money when it came to listening to. I did not think of her as.
I didn't see money, but every once in a while I saw money.
Yeah.
Like when they talk about the two like, you know, we had a nanny for Riley and a nanny for Ben, you know, and then I started thinking about money, but
yeah. But when it comes down to it, I think, I think I felt really bad for her growing up. I think, well, if we're going to talk about our takeaways.
It starts out as kind of like a fairy tale, doesn't it? Yes. It's like her life is very good. Right. In the beginning of the book, when the Elvis part of the book is great, right? Growing up in Graceland.
I do like the fact that there's chapters, and I think this book was done. I don't want to say it like is, and not to be disrespectful. I felt like it was done too fast. I think it was, in some sense, there was a lot of things. Like there was lots of gaps.
It was put out pretty quickly, but I mean,
but it's
Riley only has so much to work with,
right?
Really,
exactly.
You know? And then I mean, she has her, what she wants to put in there.
Yeah.
So
I think
you're right. The book came out fairly quick.
If Lisa was around, I think this book would have been more detailed. I think more things would have been said about certain things. I think it was a little bit again, but it's a book, you know. What do you expect? You can't get everybody's every inch of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Lisa would have lived and she would have continued with the book, she might still be writing the book today. You know what I mean? Like,
but as far as we're talking about gaps, I mean, I'm just gonna give an example. Maybe Adam could give his takeaway, but like I think I mentioned this to Adam, is that it jumped from like her being a child to right away being a teenager, and like I didn't hear anything in between. Or maybe am I wrong? Did you?
No, you're right. You're right. It seems like she's like at Graceland and Elvis passes away.
And then
she's 9 years old when Elvis passes. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know,
they talk about when she's 10 a little bit.
And then it seems like she's like 14.
Then she's 14. Like what happened in the years?
And then next thing you know, she's like 20. Mm-hmm. So it does jump. I mean, there are a lot of.
But again, obviously you can't hear every darn thing, right?
I have a feeling, when maybe she decided she was going to write a book, she started just, making these tapes of just different, thoughts that came to mind, different times in her life. And she wasn't able to fill in those gaps and put it all together. No. So Riley had to do that.
Right. And then again, like towards the end, we didn't get to hear like when she came, what she think about the Bass. What happened with Sofia Coppola.
I was surprised that Riley didn't say more about... We're kind of jumping all the way to the end right now. But I was surprised that Riley didn't talk about the Baz movie.
Well, we're talking about gaps, so it's okay to...
We're doing a big gap.
We're doing the gaps,
We're jumping to the end of the book.
Right? But yeah, these are just the gaps that we noticed like towards the end too. I wish there would have been more information on the Sofia case and what she thought about that, and kind of just wanted to smash any rumors that were going around about Sofia and her and...
Right.
And then Bass too. We didn't hear anything. How about stuff that she talked about Austin and what she thought about him and doing the performance?
It seemed like she, at the end of her life, like the Baz movie in Austin was really like an uplifting thing.
I thought that would have been something cool.
So I would have liked to have had Riley talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
Because it didn't. Yeah. It's a little heartbreaking, I think.
Where's your phone, Mari?
Another thing too.
Can you pull up the audiobook on Spotify real quick?
You want to put the
I want to talk about different chapters.
Okay.
And it's easier to go through on
the chapters. You want to see the list? Where's the how do I get to the list?
I could look. while we're doing this if you want. But yeah, like I said, the first part of the book.
Here are the chapters.
The first part of the book, like the first chapter is upstairs at Graceland.
Yes.
And you know, her life with Elvis was just so grand. You know, it's so great. You know.
Yeah.
And
this is chapter
she
1.
always felt so sad whenever she had to go back to Los Angeles with Priscilla.
Yeah, she did. There wasn't that many chapters. Were there? I mean, there was a total of 8 or 9, right?
It's a short book.
Am I wrong?
It's a short book.
9 chapters, right? 9 chapters.
I believe like the first 2 chapters are like Graceland.
Yeah.
And then Elvis passing away.
So if you guys do get to read it, I mean, I honestly want to say that the first few chapters when Elvis was alive, I think that was the most maybe I hate to say that. Uplifting.
Yeah, it's the best part. Like I said, it's the fairy tale part.
You can hear, of her, you know, having fun, being this rebellious kid, you know, just being wild. I like how she always talked about her dad being wild, but she was wild herself. So that kind of like was so cute to hear because she was just like her dad. You know, they were both very wild spirited and fun and even how she talks about when dad would curse to her, it was funny. Like, just the things, you know, and it's so the memories that she has. I'm very surprised she has them.
She said that Elvis she would always, all the time, she would hear Elvis. God damn it! That was his big thing. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but that was.
Yeah, we don't use the word God.
We don't usually say that around here, but that was Elvis's big curse around Graceland all the time, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I think some people remember, you know, that's something probably she hold on to, like that was funny to her, you know, because you knew he wasn't really mad.
Yeah.
He wasn't a mad.
I've known people like that.
I had family members like that all the time. I'll crack up. Yeah.
You start laughing. You're like, oh my God, there they go again. You know? Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think the whole book was very sad. Like I said, I would like to have seen Lisa least happy. I think she was the most happiest when she talked about her kids in the book.
Oh yeah,
obviously, and her grandkids. But when it came down to, I'm sorry, grandbaby, right? She just meant one grandbaby. Am I wrong?
Yeah, Tupelo.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that was the most. Another thing too, everybody's gonna be bashing us when it comes to Priscilla. I know I was very upset when I heard the stuff that she was saying about Priscilla. I honestly want to say that Adam probably disagrees with me, and you guys know how I feel about Priscilla, but I just felt like she was not there for at least someone. I think the most critical time is when she was a kid, after Elvis passed.
Well, that's how it would appear in the book.
Oh
obviously.
My gosh, that is not how it appeared. That's exactly what she said.
Yeah. I mean,
she said my mom was clearly telling people this woman was not there for her. Again, I'm not going to speak for Priscilla.
I don't know what Priscilla was going through at the time. You know, I do know that, it seemed in the book that, like, Lisa Marie didn't have anybody to lean on.
I'm going to tell you this, Adam. And I know this has probably more personable and it has nothing to do with Elvis and Priscilla. Obviously, they weren't married at the time. They were right. They were exes or whatever. But let me tell you, I know as a mother, as a grieving widow, I lost my husband before. And I'm going to tell you this. Mentally, no, I was not there for my daughter. There was a couple of weeks probably. I'm not going to lie. I know I was not there. And I should have. But I felt like my daughter was more stronger than me. And in this sense, I felt like that's a lot of things too we see relatable. I feel like Lisa is kind of like my daughter. She held it inside. But see, the only difference between me and Priscilla was that I came afterward. I actually came to the realization that I needed to be there for my daughter.
Yeah, but there are other differences. And people that are watching are going to say,
I know, she's
you
got
were
money.
married when
exactly
when your husband passed away.
But I guess what I'm saying
Priscilla and Elvis had already divorced.
I know, and I guess in a sense I was gonna say I don't know Priscilla in that sense. Maybe that's her way of grieving, or maybe I don't know. Everybody shows their grief different, but I felt bad for Lisa. I think that's when Priscilla should have been there for her. because I don't think Lisa ever got over the grief. And nobody does. I'm not saying you do. I have not gotten over my grief, but I feel like I kind of learned to adapt. I learned to appreciate things more, and you learn to go with the grief. It lives with you, right? But Lisa didn't know that. And even till the end, I felt like she was still carrying that grief around. Like she didn't know what to do with it.
At one point in the book, she talks about she felt like her mother was always like pushing her, like putting her somewhere.
Yeah.
And Lisa was always getting kicked out.
Yeah.
And then Priscilla would put her somewhere else, and she talks about if she would only have known, like if somebody would have came to her and said like, look, go to school, find something that you like, study it, and then this could become your career and this is what you do. Like she said, nobody like was there to guide her and tell her what was going on. They were just throwing her in different places. There was no role
model for her. And all this money, I'm sorry, but she had all this freaking money and nobody was able to help her.
But she does admit that she was acting out a lot.
She did. But again, Adam, it's probably because of that. You lose your dad.
Right. She was your typical teenager, like
she was angry.
She was smoking weed. Mm-hmm. She was trying to find alcohol.
That's her way of coping. And the sad thing is that she was never told anything different because she never was. And I'm sorry again, where was Priscilla? Why didn't Priscilla send her to therapy or have somebody talk to her? I know maybe back in those days, maybe therapy wasn't like the way it is today.
I don't know if they had a therapist in Scientology at the center, but
that's another thing too. What gave her the idea that would be a good thing to throw your kid in?
Well, she was thrown into it. Remember, she was
not thrown into it.
Well, she wasn't thrown into it, but she started hanging out with John Travolta.
Yeah, I get it, but what does that have to do with?
I don't know if you could really, if it's really persuaded, or John Travolta was so into it himself and he told Priscilla, hey, this has been great for me.
Right.
And she's like, okay, I'm going to try it. So she puts Lisa Marie in it. I don't think Priscilla was like trying to send Lisa Marie off into this cult, but
I just think during those years, I think Priscilla made a lot of poor
This
choices.
Is during the time when Priscilla was trying to make a career for herself.
Exactly.
As an actress and a model. And so, she didn't really have the time.
She had the freaking time.
Well, I'm saying she should have had the time. She should have
made the time, put it that way. You got all this money, and I hate to say this, but what is your career? You should put your child first. If you see your child is acting up, why wouldn't you get her the help? She was crying for help. That was her way of trying to get the attention from her, and she wasn't getting it.
Well, this is Lisa Marie's
side of the story. And
you
have to believe it.
It's not.
You don't believe it.
No, I do believe it, but it's not her entire story. I feel like
my gosh.
She probably would have added a lot more if she would have, lived.
One thing I guess we can say from this book reading, and you guys will hear this too, that she obviously ended up forgiving her mom and moved forward, right? That's something that I kind of praise Lisa for, because I think that's what she needed in her heart, is not to carry her mom's crap
right
with her.
Well, when Lisa
she didn't deserve that.
Lisa was pregnant with Riley, Priscilla was pregnant with Navarone. Or not, I don't know if it was at the same time, but they had the kids at around the same time.
Yeah.
So didn't Lisa Marie say that kind of brought them together, becoming like new moms around the same time? Mm-hmm. And, so.
Right. But there was also this sense of jealousy too, because Priscilla, the way she was treating her son.
Right. So, Lisa Marie was jealous.
As she should be. As every right. I think she had every right to feel jealous because, and again, like I know we talked about this, discussed this, that maybe Priscilla's treating this person better or this son better is only because it's later on in life. She probably matured. She probably learned. She probably wants to do better.
You would think on your second child, maybe you learn some things and you're a better parent.
Maybe you want to be a better parent. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not speaking
and
for
Priscilla.
And
it was of quite a few years between, Priscilla and Navarone.
Yeah.
The age gap.
Yeah.
So it's not like they were born just 2 years later. I mean.
No, but another thing too where I think Priscilla failed her is when she had that boyfriend living in with her and
Mike Edwards.
And him doing things to Lisa.
Right. That's the most
a big no for me.
That's almost the most upsetting part of the book.
That's the most upsetting part for me because as a mother, you would never want some guy frickin'
Priscilla's dating this guy who's like a wannabe model and actor.
Yeah.
I guess his big claim to fame was he was in that movie Mommy Dearest with Faye Dunaway.
He was like one of the boyfriends, right?
He played one of the boyfriends.
Right.
Like there's the scene in the book.
But now that I look at it, that creepy boyfriend.
Well, before we talk about what he did
in real life.
Before we talk about what he did, there's a scene in the book where Priscilla is actually upset with Lisa Marie because Lisa Marie has wire hangers hanging in the closet.
Yes.
And Priscilla's actually like yelling at Lisa Marie saying, "Hey, what are you doing with these wire hangers?
Right.
These are from the cleaners. Like you need to put your clothes on the plastic hangers." And then Mike Edwards was in like the background overhearing this, and he starts busting out laughing. And Priscilla's like, "What's going on? What are you laughing at?" And he's like, "I'm doing the movie Mommy Dearest. Don't you see how funny this is? You're talking about wire hangers just like Joan Crawford, you know?" And it's just like, oh my God.
Her and Joan they should have been good friends.
Yeah, I don't know, Maury. I don't know.
All I gotta say is as a mother, you would never put your frickin' boyfriends before your kids. You have to agree on that. You have kids. You wouldn't put me like
I would.
You would believe your kids.
You never put anybody before the kids.
Believe the kids that if they told you I did something bad to them, I'm sure you would be like, "Oh, you have to." I would want you to because obviously I wouldn't do that, but like you have. I mean, yeah, there's some kids that lie. I'm not gonna, but it seemed like this was more severe. Like what I'm saying is, yeah, if I'm like doing something to the kids, taking something away, and they tell you that's. But this was like molestation.
This was in what the 80s, it seemed? Like the mid 80s probably.
Yeah, and it's very we don't really want to go into the details how he was we've heard what he was telling her, what she says he would tell her about where he was touching her and what men would do,
He would touch her in certain places and say, "When you grow up, this is where a man's going to touch you," and I guess he would spank her. And not because she did something wrong, because it was doing something that he enjoyed, It
was rousing him and getting off on it, basically. So it's just that to me is very disturbing. And that's when I'm like, now you see why people hate Priscilla so much.
I say scenes. I don't know why I say that. Maybe because I did listen to it on the audio.
Yeah.
So it kind of, in my mind, it's almost like a movie.
But...
there's the part where she tells Priscilla, like, look he spanked me, and like she shows Priscilla, and Priscilla's like, "Well, what did you do to deserve that?"
What the hell is wrong with you, lady? Sir Priscilla. I'm sorry. Like I said, I have nothing good to say about Priscilla during this time, right? That was back in the day, right? Whatever. It is what it is. Obviously, Lisa and her did make amends, and that's what people need to realize, that the book wasn't big. And I tell this to Adam all the time. I don't care if people are gonna probably lie and probably come after me or whatever, but I don't think the book has any. It's not about Priscilla. People need to stop looking for that kind of I think people are looking for reasons to hate her more, and that's what they're gonna do. But this book is not about Priscilla. People need to stop.
It's not about Priscilla, but but she is a character in the book.
She's a big major character.
And if you want to talk about like is she like an uplifting character, like what kind of character is she?
Adam, but I feel like
a lot of people would say she's a villain or something.
Right, but that's what they're going to look for. They're going to blame her for Lisa Marie, the way she was acting out, the way she was, the things she's done, the drinking, the addictions, the going out with, whatever.
I can't put all that on Priscilla.
Me either.
Only because, when you're a teenager and you grow up in, I don't know, Los Angeles, and there's probably a lot of that going on, even with people that have parents that are, great parents, You're going out with your friends, you're doing drugs. Who doesn't
act out? I'm sorry.
You're staying out all night,
I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of, and I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, it's because my dad didn't pay attention to me." I chose to do some of those things, And again, later on, when Lisa's drinking, and a lot of, if you guys listen to the book or the audio, whichever the case is, you'll realize that she's doing a lot of things to cope with her dad's death.
Right.
Has nothing to do with Priscilla. I hate to say that, but
she talks about the fact that she lost her virginity at 14, I believe.
And she was looking for that father figure. Again, there was a lot of talk about father. And again, it has nothing to do with Priscilla. And I know people are going to come after me and say, oh, Priscilla did this. Yeah, she did. Her part, yeah, she had a major role in it. But I also feel like Lisa's book has nothing to... It's more about her and finding herself and questioning what the hell she's doing on Earth. And a lot of times she's questioning her faith, her spirituality, her reasoning for living, her reasoning for wanting to die. I think she questioned a lot of things. But again, I think it just goes back to Elvis, losing Elvis.
Sure. And, you know, of course, going back to Priscilla is going to seem like a drag. It's going to seem like, oh, I'm going back to Priscilla. You know, this sucks. When you just got done hanging out at Graceland, cruising around in golf carts, living this awesome life. Of course, the Priscilla life is going to seem like, I got to go back to school.
But
my mom's going to make me actually do the things that other kids have to do, you know? When she was off with Elvis, it just seemed like a dream world. Mm-hmm. So obviously when that ended, it was just a huge like blow. Like no more of this dream. The dream's over.
She was a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
It just like what made me cry too was that part of the book where Lisa was they had divorced. Priscilla and Elvis were already separated, and Lisa was there for the summer with Elvis, and it was time to start the school year. And she said, "No, Daddy, can I stay with you?" And he called her up, Priscilla, and asked if she could stay. And obviously, Priscilla told him no. And he came back and told her, "I'm sorry, you have to go back home."
And she said she could tell in his voice that
he was
crying, but he was holding it in. But he was trying to not let her know.
Now. I'm telling you, as a father, it broke Elvis's heart. And like I said, Elvis was going through a lot himself.
It broke Elvis's heart.
But he knew that Priscilla was trying to keep that normalcy for her.
Yes.
And I think that was important. A lot of people don't see that,
I think some people might see that as, oh, there's Priscilla doing something evil, keeping Lisa Marie from Elvis. But she is about to start school. When a kid's about to start school, you got to get them ready for school. You got to make sure everything's set.
And Elvis did say, Lisa said that Elvis said Priscilla was right in that respect. You know, in that, because it was something that she needed to do. Another thing too, I liked part of the book was that Priscilla, what I liked about Priscilla's family, other side, is that they always told her that they weren't going to treat Lisa as someone special.
Right.
Like,
you're just like anybody else.
You're just like, because
Priscilla's mother said that,
Because, and you imagine if Elvis still would have been living, Lisa probably would have, she was already spoiled. Yeah. She was firing people at 4 years old. I was like, she had all that authority.
Oh, yeah.
She had the authority to fire people. Like, her little ass, I'm sorry. She was a feisty little ass. She had that power.
Yeah. Remember the story where it was her birthday and Charlie Hodge, Charlie Hodge, the guy that always give Elvis his scarves on stage.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't get Lisa Marie anything for her birthday, so he just reached in it. He reached in his pocket and he pulled out whatever it was in his pocket and he threw it down on the table. He's like, "You could have whatever you want from this pile." So she's like, "I just grabbed all the money."
So. I wonder how much it was.
Hey, Charlie Hodge, you work for Elvis, you probably had a couple $100 in your pocket, Or that she would go down to the gate and the fans at the gate would give Lisa Marie money and say, "Hey, here's some money and here's my camera. Go take a picture of Elvis and bring it back." And she would go up to Graceland, take a picture of the floor.
Yeah.
And then bring back the camera and say, "Here, I took a picture of the floor."
Yeah.
Yeah. She loved messing with the fans.
Yeah. She lost a lot at night.
She did.
She lost a lot. It's sad. I want to cry. I feel like with her, as a kid, she obviously, and then the sad thing about her when she's describing how everybody was there at the funeral and she was watching other people cry for her dad. To her, you could tell she wasn't even grieving at that time. She didn't do it until after his body was gone, right?
Right.
and as kids, you don't, like I said, if you notice kids, while they some grieve differently, some cry, some people shout, some people, and she really tend to hold everything inside, I think. She didn't know what to do with it. Nobody talked to her about what to do afterwards, and I think that's the saddest part.
Well, remember they said right after Elvis had passed, and it was before Priscilla got, actually, as Priscilla got to Graceland,
mm-hmm.
Lisa Marie was on the golf cart driving around.
Yeah.
And Priscilla got mad and told Lisa, like, hey, what are you doing? Like, don't drive the golf cart around. And it looks like
you don't
Priscilla,
care.
Yeah, Priscilla said, it looks like you don't care, you know, so.
And that's what brought me to tears, is because, like I said, my daughter was the same way. And not that driving golf carts. What I mean is, like, everybody grieves differently. You just don't know how they're going to react. And Lisa was not grieving the way you would think she would grieve. Nobody knew.
Right.
It's very sad. And I liked another part of the book where they said that she always looked sad. Like, throughout her years, if you took pictures with her, she always appeared sad.
After Elvis died.
After.
Before that, she looked
She
happy.
was happy.
She was a happy kid.
She lost her dad.
She
But you
doesn't
mentioned
have.
that.
She doesn't have.
But you mentioned this, Adam, and you said that some people, you're like, why? Why some people can't just forget their dad? You've said that before, remember? And she's one of those persons that never forgot her dad.
Yeah.
Or couldn't ever overcome that grief.
Yeah.
She didn't live with it. She didn't know how to, like I said, but again, I think maybe because she never had nobody to talk to about it. And that's what I feel very sad about. Like, she was mainly with her nanny or whatever. Or she was off in Scientology school or whatever, you know, trying to find herself, doing drugs, whatever. Another thing, too, she was trying to do anything to cope. And I think that's something that, I don't think she put this blame on Priscilla. I think that was just her way of doing things.
Yeah.
And Priscilla just saw it as her being rebellious and whatever, but
Other than
things.
Priscilla, she does talk a little bit about some of Elvis's other girlfriends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember everybody she mentions, but she does speak.
She does not like Ginger.
She does not like Ginger.
She said she loved Linda.
Yeah, she
did. She did say she loved Linda, which I can agree why.
Yeah.
Ginger,
She said
I've never
Elvis
had
and
nothing
Ginger were
against.
always arguing, right?
I told you I had nothing against Ginger, but I never thought that was a good fit. I didn't know the relation, but just by age, by just, you know, I think she was just too young for him.
Yeah.
What did you think about it? I know that people think differently, but
No, I agree.
I just think she was too young.
Yeah.
I think he needed somebody more mature, and
I
she's
don't.
beautiful. That has nothing to do with it.
You know, when this has nothing to do with the book. I mean, Ginger has said that they were engaged.
Yeah, they were engaged.
And then there's other people that say no, they weren't engaged. I mean, I'm not. I mean, sure, I believe Ginger if that's what she says, but do I think Elvis would have went through with it?
Maybe,
but maybe not.
Maybe
You
not.
know what I
I
mean?
think there would have been a lot of there would have been a prenup.
Just because you're engaged doesn't mean
I think
it's
there would be
gonna
a lot of things that he would have been like, this is all to my daughter, Lisa, and she probably wasn't going to really get much out of it. I would have been like, yeah. She would not have been a happy wife.
So I'm sure Ginger is not, she's not going to have a great review of the book.
No.
You know, I'm sure she won't even read the book,
But I like how Lisa described Elvis as being this lovable, protective dad.
Yeah.
Like, that we never really hear. Like, he really did love this child. And why shouldn't he? I mean, they both look alike. They both were alike. And even she carried that all the way through. Like, one thing I felt sad about her was because I always tell this to Adam, she had a lot of talent, especially with songwriting. And singing, I know everybody's like, oh, I don't understand why they're trying to compare her voice to Elvis. She's a woman.
Right.
Give it a break. She's a daughter. She's not going to sound like a dude or Elvis. And I don't think they gave her credit.
There's not a lot of talk in the book about her career.
Singing. That's what I wanted to hear.
Every once in a while, she might bring it up or talk about the fact that her and her husband, Danny Keough, were gonna like build a studio, and that they were working on songs. And
right.
She did mention that she made a demo, you know, Remember, at one point, she said Prince was interested in her.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson and all these people wanted to do stuff with her. And
that would have been awesome, I think.
Yeah.
But she was that's another thing, too, the book talks a lot about, was that she was very shy. And at one point, she said she told somebody, who did she say, to turn around when she was going to sing? When
she made the demo tape, she wanted to show it to somebody in the industry.
But she said, turn around.
Yeah.
That's something I would have done.
Or did she, was she actually singing in the room? I don't remember.
No, she was singing in the room, and they heard her voice, and they were, like, surprised that she can actually sing.
But it wasn't until years later that she actually put out her first album.
But it wasn't even about her. Like, because she didn't want to be famous. Right. She just wanted to do this. And I think that a lot of people get that confused. Like, because if you notice, she didn't do a lot of publicity when it came to her music. Or am I wrong? I didn't really see a lot of her, like...
Not too much. I don't think she was that fond of interviews and... Promoting, you have to do a lot of interviews.
She wasn't doing all that. But she didn't like the spotlight. A lot of people get that confused.
But she did enjoy performing.
Yeah.
She liked being on the stage and performing.
Yeah, singing and stuff. Yeah.
She just didn't like, the
attention.
The interviews and the paparazzi and stuff like that. And one thing she said that she did not like was when she was doing, like, the shows and she would look out and see somebody in the audience dressed like her father. When she would see...
Because it would freak her out.
A tribute artist in the audience, like, that would just...
That's a trigger for her. She obviously was not wanting to see somebody dressed like her dad. That triggered something in her. And I think that's that's understandable. I get that. And but I also like how later on, years after... where her and Riley went to, where were they, Disney World or something, and they went to a bar or something, and somebody was singing a country song.
A country version of Suspicious Minds.
She actually went up there and gave credit to the guy, the singer, and then she called him an arrogant
because son of a bitch. He didn't really care, and he didn't even, I don't even think he knew who she was.
He didn't, that's what Riley said. Riley,
and she's like, that arrogant SOB.
How would you not know that was freaking Lisa Marie? How would you not know? Would you have not known?
Everybody.
She looks like him.
Just like Elvis.
The hell? Yeah. I'd have been like, oh no, it's Lisa.
But we've talked up until like now she's like in her 20s, right? And she meets Danny Keough, and they have their kids, and life is going good for a while, right? Until I think it's time we almost talk about Michael.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. We haven't even discussed
but
Michael
before that, Well,
what do you want to...
Danny, what I wanted to mention, another part of the book, and this is repeated a lot, is that she wanted normalcy. Like, she wanted the family. She wanted that... She was trying to create something that she never could experience throughout the life.
Yeah, but she did have, like, a self-destructive thing in her where... I mean, well, she is the one that broke up the family.
But you heard her. Why? You heard because she never wanted to get too close because people end up hurting her. And sure enough, she called Danny a sneaky guy. She called a lot of men sneaky bastard, right? But again, that's why she was doing the thing she was doing, because she didn't want to get too close. She didn't want to lose that.
You think that's why she left Danny for Michael Jackson?
No, I don't think so. Danny was not faithful, though. You keep saying that. Before the marriage, there he was.
But we got to talk about during the marriage and up until the point she met Michael. I think Danny was.
But see, that's what we didn't.
Danny was trusting Lisa Marie, but he was hoping. I think he was hoping, like, I hope she's not doing anything with Michael, and he's trusting her to go hang out with Michael.
She wasn't.
She wasn't. But next thing you know, Michael's in love, and Michael, and he says, "Hey, I want to be with you." He tells her, he says, I want to be with you, I want to marry you, and I want us to have children together. I mean, he tells her that right away, basically.
Wait a minute. I forgot. She does talk about losing a child. I forgot about that. That was Danny's...
Before this. Before
Michael
Jackson.
Let's go back. Yeah.
When she gets with Danny, they end up having... She gets pregnant.
She gets pregnant.
And she's, I don't know, they're not prepared, and she ends up having an abortion, right?
I don't know if it's an abortion.
Wasn't it an abortion?
Something happened where it was not where it needed to be or something.
Was it a miscarriage?
I don't think it was a miscarriage. We would have to go back. You guys can let us know, but that was a little kind of like. Okay. Anyways, they didn't have.
I could be wrong, but they lose the baby.
They lose it. She regrets it. And they weren't prepared for it. Put it that way. They were just not prepared to have that baby. And she always wanted to have a big family. So
yeah, I
don't know what happened then. That's probably what that kind of separated them. That's what it was. Yeah. It was that baby thing, and then they separated.
And she just kept feeling like that loss, you know, like that she lost her baby, and she wanted to kind of, I don't know, make up for it, or she really had that urge to become a mother, or so. And then they did. She said she trapped him, is what she said, right?
She trapped him. She did. She finally had Riley. Remember? Yeah. Because Riley, when she gets with Michael Jackson, Riley's there. Riley and Ben are there.
Yes, when she gets with Michael, yeah, Riley and Ben are what they're, I don't know, maybe like 5 and 7. They're young kids.
Yeah.
I don't know how old they are, but.
Yeah, and so they get to, which they call Mimi, right?
Mimi is what they call
Michael Jackson is called Mimi.
Riley talks about her mother and Mimi driving them to school.
I don't understand how Michael Jackson was a virgin at that time.
Yeah, that's what she says, yeah. That he was a virgin, and he was, 35 years old at the time?
I just didn't think
she says in the book she lost her virginity at 14.
I didn't think Michael, please, I don't mean I just don't think he was attracted to women.
He doesn't come across as the type that would be attracted to women, yeah. I get what you're saying.
But then maybe because I've never seen him, we've seen him talking to Brooke Shields. He was around a lot of beautiful women.
Right.
Madonna. He was talking to Madonna. He was talking to Brooke Shields. He was talking to somebody else too. So he was with a lot of women. I'm not saying.
I know there are people out there that think that he lost his virginity to Diana Ross.
Yeah, too.
Right.
But I don't know. He just didn't seem. He didn't come across. You're right. He doesn't come across as. I don't know. I just thought he was not into women. But not in a bad way. I just didn't think that.
Right. He didn't come across as he was into men either.
No.
He just came across as he just was like
how
the type that just didn't care at all.
That didn't want to have a
didn't want a relation. He could just be on his own.
Because to be honest with you, I never thought he was gay either.
Right.
Never thought that. It never entered my mind like, oh, he's gay. He just did not appear like that.
You just didn't seem like the type of guy that was going out picking up chicks.
Or in a relationship. Or men, yeah. In relationships, right? Don't mean it that in a bad way. Just,
yeah. What was he singing about Dirty Diana? What was he talking about?
You said you were talking about Diana Ross.
Dirty Diana? Uh-oh.
No, we're starting something. No, it's not true. It's not true. But getting back to it, yeah, they describe... what I liked about the book is that they didn't really go into detail a lot of things. But it almost seemed like she left Michael again for the same reason. Like she didn't want to relive the same thing she did with her father, which was the drug abuse.
But also, Michael was getting into substance abuse.
He was.
And she felt like he was lying to her.
That's another thing. She was a person that did not want to get... Who does, right? Who wants to be lied to? I think Lisa was always straightforward with everybody, and I think that's how she came across with anybody from reading this book.
And at one point, didn't he tell Lisa, like, hey, my nurse Debbie said she'll have kids with me?
That's another thing, too. Lisa was always questioning whether or not she wanted to have children with Michael, but I think there was a lot of reasons for that. He was lying, he was hiding things, and then he was starting to do this drug thing, and she just wasn't into that. Yeah. And she I don't blame her for questioning to have kids with him. Oh, another thing she said that he might have been that type to want kids from her and then leave her. Remember?
Yeah, like all he wanted was the kids. He didn't really care so much about her.
And it had something to do with her dad.
That he wanted Elvis Jackson babies, right?
Yeah. So in a sense, she felt like he was using her. That's what I got across. That's what it sounded like. She didn't want to be used.
Just a side note, though. What a big, okay, you wanted to have your kids with Lisa Marie so you could have, Elvis babies. That didn't work out. So you say, what the hell, I'll have kids with Nurse Debbie. I mean, what? You couldn't have just waited a little while, maybe seen if like Shania Twain was available or.
But those are not his real blood, right? Am I wrong? Are the kids blood? Are they not?
No. I don't think those kids are Jackson blood.
So he didn't donate his sperm?
It doesn't make any
That's
sense.
another thing. Why did he donate his sperm? What was wrong with
Why not just adopt kids that need a home?
But he could have had, if he wanted his real kids, no, seriously, he could have donated his sperm.
Those are his real kids because those are his kids. He raised them.
Kids, right? Yes, I'm not discounting that.
But yeah, like why didn't he want his DNA in his kids?
I mean, if she was willing to have kids, hey, here's my, you don't have to sleep with me, just like surrogates, like
and why do you want Why do you want Nurse Debbie to have your kids so bad?
That's another thing too. I didn't know about Riley and having a surrogate mother and seriously, I didn't know that. I thought Riley had her babies.
I didn't know how Riley had her babies just because I never saw her pregnant.
Yeah,
but I wasn't sure.
But I thought I just never seen her pregnant because I thought maybe she just disappeared for that time and had her, like just privacy.
But at the same time, she's an actress. She's filming stuff. She has obligations. She don't have
time, right?
And maybe she has contracts she already signed. And at the same time, she wants to have a baby.
Either that, or there's something medically,
we don't know.
So please, we're not even. Has nothing.
But she does mention that she had a surrogate,
which I thought was cute because I never heard of
for Tupelo.
Never heard of her having a surrogate mother. And what I liked about that is that Lisa was there during that time and got to see her granddaughter. So
yeah.
And Tupelo. How cute is the name?
That Tupelo. Does, a lot of times you wonder about Riley and you wonder like just how much she actually knows about Elvis and her history and how much she cares about her history.
Because you won't see how many comments you guys we've got on our channel about Riley, and there's things that are said about her negatively.
A lot of negative stuff, like she doesn't give a damn,
she
right?
She don't give a damn. She looks like her grandmother, which and if she does,
I think Mari, I think the fact that she named her daughter Tupelo says a lot about. Yeah. She does care about the family history.
She does, but that's what they're saying, that she was never around about Elvis time. So what the heck she would know about Elvis? And I'm thinking that's her grandfather.
There's only one reason to name your daughter Tupelo, and it's because it's that Elvis connection.
And her mom, obviously, right? You're doing it for the love of your mom and respect and grandfather and whatnot, and she's doing things on the sidelines still for Graceland. Like she's still taking care of it. She came forward as soon as that dumb person that was trying to take away, cause bankruptcy and whatever. I mean, she came really quick. I mean, who does that? They were
trying to steal Graceland basically through fraud, just,
And Riley, Riley, I just changed her name. Riley just came and just, took care of that, which, I give her props for that. I do. Like, I kind of was on the fence with her, and I think Adam actually clarified that for me, was because I guess I was trying to see more emotions through her, like during these interviews with Oprah and anybody, right? The talk show and On The View, whatever she was on. I wanted to see more emotion with her, and I'm not getting that from her, but I guess everybody's different. Maybe
I think sometimes you really have to hold it in, otherwise you'll just break down.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Can you imagine? You're just going to break down every time,
Which, during the Oprah interview, I mean, when she heard her mother's voice, it did bring her to tears for a second there. It did
for a second, but I was like, okay.
I mean,
why doesn't she cry?
Well, she's got, she's on television. She is a professional actress.
She is a professional, yeah.
And she's, she needs to be composed.
And I'm not saying she doesn't love her mom. That's not what I'm saying. Me, I'm more the exaggerator. I would have been like, okay, probably overdoing it.
Mari's just waiting for like those Steel Magnolias fire.
I'm looking for the works, but I guess I'm not used to the crocodile. I hate the crocodile tears, and that's what I told about Priscilla too. Like I hate when Priscilla talks about Elvis, and then she grabs a freaking tissue and she's like,
I don't think...
What? Don't freaking... I hate when women do that. I'm sorry, ladies, but if you're like me, I hate when... If you're going to cry, freaking cry. Don't pick in a little tissue. Of my makeup.
I disagree. No. Priscilla is not faking it when she's...
Oh, I'm not just talking about Priscilla. I'm just talking about any actresses when they're like on... you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When you're going to cry, just cry. Don't be freaking... Oh... A little tear gun. You don't even see a damn tear, and you're like asking for tissue. I'm like, for crying out loud. Oh, and I'm not gonna get started on Oprah's interview. I'm sorry.
Get started.
You know what else? I kept complaining about Oprah.
You're one of these people.
I cannot stand.
You got people that like Oprah, and then you got people like Mari.
I like Oprah. I just don't want her talking during the freaking interviews.
I didn't notice it.
I noticed that. She would not shut up.
You felt like she was talking over.
I think.
Right.
Yeah, I think she kept.
We're kind of straying from the book to the Oprah interview. Have you noticed?
I'm sorry. I just.
Let's not do that. Let's not.
Well,
real quick, back to the book.
Be another video.
So we talk about Michael and how that didn't work out, right? I feel like the next main chapter of the book is she has her twins, right? She gets with Michael Lockwood.
Well, she talks about her other boyfriends. One of them was my favorite, Nick
Cage.
Nick Cage.
No, I love Nicolas Cage.
I love Nicolas Cage.
I mean, he is a character. He's a great actor.
I wish out of those two would have.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome.
But they were both too wild.
And they're both like she said, they were both too dramatic, which I could see. I could see Nicholas probably acting like he was in Honeymoon Vegas.
Yeah.
I know that now.
I know that now.
I love it. You guys ever seen, what is it?
What did she say?
Honeymoon and you, what did she say?
She's like, you brought me to Vegas and you turned me into a whore, Jack. Yeah.
I hate to say the word.
That's a great movie.
You guys gotta watch. But anyways, he's a great guy. She did not say anything bad. And he obviously was very generous with her, buying her cars.
He bought her 2 cars. 2 classic cars, right?
And 2 engagement rings, which one is probably lost somewhere in the, what kind of, I forgot.
She threw it into the...
She said that, no.
He threw it in the ocean?
She didn't say who threw it.
Someone threw it in the ocean.
Someone threw it.
And they did try to retrieve it.
And they couldn't find it.
But the diver was like, hey, man, there's no way you're ever going to find this.
Was it a $65,000 ring or something?
$65,000.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, and then
so
also...
That's the type of relationship they had.
And then he came back with a more expensive ring, which we never heard what happened to that ring. I wonder if she gave it back or... I don't know what happened to that.
I'm sure she kept it. I mean, he probably didn't care.
Yeah. But...
He's that type of guy.
He's that type of guy, but, we wished him well. He's obviously now
So,
married.
he was a very short paragraph in the book.
Yeah, very.
Right?
But then she meets Michael Lockwood, right?
Michael Lockwood. They don't really discuss this in the book, but Michael Lockwood is in her band.
Yeah.
He plays guitar for her. Mm-hmm. They tour together, all that.
But throughout all these relationships, one thing we have to pay attention to
is Danny Keough.
He never leaves the picture.
He never leaves the picture. And it's not because he can't let go. Because actually, Lisa Marie talks about that she wanted to be back with Danny. But he couldn't take the heartbreak. Like it was just too much. You know what I mean? So
but he loved her.
He said it's better that we're friends. But he always was there. They always lived together.
He just couldn't deal with another heartbreak or getting hurt from Lisa, which I respect. But I think he always loved her. He's still there.
He was the one constant thing in her life, something that she could always depend on. Right?
They were friends. They were best friends. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't have. But yeah, he remained there to the end.
Yeah. While she was dating other people, while she was married to other people, he was still right there. And there was no jealousy.
No, but I think
there might have been, but in the book they didn't speak of any kind of jealousy.
He was jealous.
At what point?
Danny, when she caught her with Nick, wasn't it? When they were at that the film festival, remember?
Okay. I don't remember. Remember,
this part. She hired a private eye. Lisa hired a PI to follow Danny around.
Yes.
And meanwhile, Danny, I guess, escaped, and then they were at a film festival at this time, and Danny was hanging around with Cyndi Lauper and
you're right.
Somebody else. Anyways, I don't know, they lost him, and he ends up finding Lisa with her boyfriend, which was obviously Nick, and he was like, oh, there you are. And she was not happy to see this.
Can you imagine? With the private eye and all that. I forgot about that part, Mari.
Yeah, see? You forgot about that. Well, anyways, they stayed together all this time, and I think that was... to the end, that's very sad.
He was the last person that was there for her.
To text with her, especially because she was at the end. I think was very sad is that
we still have to get to Ben.
Oh, Ben.
We haven't even talked about Ben.
To Ben, yes. That's so cute how they talk about him. They nicknamed him Ben.
Well, Lisa Marie, this is around the time, right, that Lisa Marie had her twins. And after she had her twins, she started to get hooked on medication, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she got into the drug problem.
Great.
And her son Ben and Riley were always there for her, trying to help her. And it talks about how Ben was like, he was always hurting for his mother, right? Like, what she was going through was really kind of affecting them, you know? And even right before he passed away, like, Lisa Marie was going through, you know, some stuff, and he was really worried about Lisa Marie.
It almost seems like I don't know, I sense that all the family, even with Riley, they all had this intuition, like, inside, like, they kind of sensed what everything was going, like, they're very spiritual, which was a little freaky at times, because, like, Riley, this is towards the end, Riley would sense, you know, something was happening to her mom, or Lisa would sense something was happening to Ben or whoever, the what was it, the nanny at one point, like, the next day it's like they had this, like, the premonitions, I don't know what it's called.
They were very close.
Very close.
Yeah.
That they all kind of felt each other's pain in a sense.
Like Riley, Ben, and Lisa Marie.
They had this,
and I'm sure the twins as well, but they were young. They were just babies at the time.
Yeah, they all had this strong connection, and I'm sure they still do. Now it's probably from the beyond, but it's very sad that, it like they said, they didn't really talk much about Ben. I think the only thing they pretty much wanted to address or make it known that they really didn't know he was struggling with depression.
No, they had no idea. He did have a little bit of a drinking problem and a drug problem, I think, but there was never any suggestion about him not wanting to be around,
So
right?
after he passed is when they found him saying something that he might have a mental.
He did leave a voicemail, I think maybe,
it was a message or a
something
text
where
or
he
something.
said, he said, I think I have some kind of mental disorder. Yeah, there might be something wrong with me or something.
But Adam, I almost feel like that runs in the family. Like, all of them could not be able to tell each other, like, I have this problem or whatever, you know. And I think it's unfortunate that they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
It's sad. My tears are coming. Because from what they said with Ben is that he was a very gentle person, very, like, and almost like Elisa adored him to the point where it was like she was holding on to him in a sense that was her father.
Well, she said that
In him.
she never really wanted to tell him, but she could just see how much he resembled Elvis, and, you know,
She didn't want to tell him,
put
to
that
scare
on him,
and
you know,
scare him. That's how she said that he was very much alike, like his grandfather. He was just in every way, like, from his mannerisms to his physical features to, you know, just the things he did in general. And I think that was hard on Lisa. So another thing we have to remember is that when Ben died, that's another thing.
When Ben died, I feel like in my mind, and I told Mari, I feel like it was almost like losing Elvis again. You know what I mean?
That again.
Because I feel like with Ben, she almost maybe in her mind had this feeling like, I don't know, like she got something back, because he resembled Elvis so much, and it was just, to her, it was just like, oh, now he's gone, you know, the two most important guys in her life.
Yeah.
You know, I guess the three most important would have been Danny Keough.
If they would have kept that, if they would have kept that normalcy, which
but
they
Elvis,
did.
Yeah.
Another thing that was interesting is in the book how Lisa Marie spent time with her dad, Elvis, after he passed. Was they had the body there, right, to mourn for a few days, and
in 1977 after Elvis passed.
1977 he passed, right? I guess that was.
She said that was helpful for her to have the body there, to be able to, even though he had passed on, to see him there And that she would go down and spend maybe some time with it.
She would sit there alone with him and hold his hand, and I think she ended up doing that. Again, they mentioned that her doing that with her son, which a lot of people would be like, what? That's crazy. She kept Ben for what?
2 months.
2 months in her.
She would have to get dry ice delivered.
Have the room
I think the room was at like 55 degrees. That just shows she could not let go.
But that shows you too, like she, and I hate to say this, but she really needed help. Like, I think there was times where I've heard that she was attending therapy, but not in the book. I didn't hear that. I think I heard that somewhere else.
They talk in the book. They do talk in the book.
That she was.
That she had therapy. And remember, they talk about that she would have people come to her house. And they would have these, like, grief counselors come.
Yeah.
And she would, like, put out, like, sandwiches or whatever. And they would all just kind of talk and grieve.
Honestly, I don't like working with people. I feel like she just did not learn, I shouldn't say learn, that's not the word. She didn't properly grieve for her dad, and I feel like it kind of like just added to it when Ben passed away. And then of course, being that he looked just like her dad, like added to more of the heartbreak. And it's sad, like her daughter said, Riley said that I felt like she died of a broken heart. I agree. I hate to that's exactly what it looks like to me. Although she might have had heart issues, right? We don't know. And then, of course, stomach issues.
She had that surgery.
For her stomach. Which
Yeah.
did not help. And a lot of times people don't realize when you have those type of surgeries, they kind of damage.
They do.
They damage your heart too.
And from reading the book, you can see that Lisa Marie was not the type that really. I don't think she liked going to the doctor.
No.
Because there's so many times in the book where her kids are like, "Go to the doctor," or Riley's like, "Go to the doctor," you know, and she doesn't want to go. But at one point, they wanted her to go to the doctor, and she wouldn't go because she didn't want her kids to be taken away, because she was on drugs
right
at that point. But at the time of her death, she was completely off of drugs.
Mm-hmm. She was drinking. They mentioned a lot of her drinking. Another thing too, I think that does not help, especially if she's having heart issues. The drinking did not help.
At the end, they said she was drinking?
Before that, when she was drinking a lot. Remember?
Riley
said that she would...
But Riley said at the end, though...
No. At the end, she was...
At the end, she was clean.
No, but...
And, the toxicology report said that she didn't,
She was proud of her mom.
She didn't... Yeah, she was proud of her mom because her mom didn't take more than she was prescribed. So...
Well, she was a grandma. She was now a grandma, you know. Now it was like she called her granddaughter, what she called her, the light or something. Something so beautiful. To me, it's like that was her new start. And she said she did not want to die anymore. She did. And that was her always gut feeling, like she didn't want to live anymore. But then she got the realization that she did not want to die, which that tells you that she wasn't trying to die.
No,
so a lot of people were like...
And she was... Actually, at the time of her death, she was in excruciating pain.
She was.
And she was messaging Danny Keough to, can you please bring me some Tums?
So, I mean, that
because
shows
her stomach was hurting so bad.
I think that shows you that she was not trying to die.
Yeah, she wasn't. She wanted to get rid of the pain. She wanted to live.
Yeah, you figure you want to die, you're not going to take nothing. And that only proves to me that she wasn't trying to. I think this is just an unfortunate event. It just caught up to her. And again, it could have been something that her dad, she inherited. I think that's just the body. What is the word I'm looking for? The genetics and everything, it comes to down. I don't think that...
Yeah. They do speak briefly about Gladys in the book, and they say how, Gladys loved Elvis so much that she drank herself to death when he got drafted. She was so worried about him,
I think that just runs like the heart issues and I think, I hate to say this about Elvis. Elvis never properly, I think we said this before, Elvis didn't properly grieve when his mom passed
Gladys
away.
Passed, yeah.
So he carried all that throughout too.
They do make a little bit of a comparison, I think, between that relationship that Elvis and Gladys had
mm-hmm.
and the relationship between Lisa Marie and Ben,
Yeah. It's almost the same. And then the connection that Lisa had with her dad is that they were both spiritual people. Both of them were searching for the same answers as far as what do you do here on earth? what is my purpose in life? And I liked how she said, what the hell am I doing here?
Right.
Because I think a lot of people don't realize Elvis was doing the same thing. Like, he was always reading books, trying to figure out what the hell was he doing there. So, yeah.
We haven't spoke at all about Scientology, right?
No, I really don't.
We're not going to, but that was her main religion through her life.
It was, but I don't think that was a big, I don't even know what it was.
That was something Priscilla put her in.
Yeah,
but I think
this
even
was
after she
something
grew
that-
older,
yeah.
she stayed in it on her own.
She did.
But and then she
left.
finally did leave Scientology.
Yeah, I don't think it was okay, this is what I want to say. It wasn't such a impact. Like, I don't think it had such a, I think Lisa did what she wanted to do.
Yeah. She always did what she wanted.
She always fucking did it. Taking drugs and, she said that at one point. I think Scientology, she did mention that was actually a good thing for her. She did say that at one point, that it helped her.
I'm sure it's not all completely crazy. There's got to be some good parts to it.
I'm sure. I don't think...
Right?
Obviously, they did well. If she said they stood by her, they gave her the support, and then, okay, then we should be happy for her because she did come out of that whatever cloud she was in, that dark cloud, and she became who she is today, which I think that's how we should honor her, is her always doing her own thing and being that strong woman for her daughter Riley, her son, and her daughters. And
one thing Riley does say in the book is, this has nothing to do with anything we just talked about, but she does mention that she doesn't know that Lisa Marie really knew, like, that Lisa Marie and Priscilla both had that connection with horses. They were both horse lovers, and I don't think they ever really got to, like, bond on that with each other.
That's why I feel bad for the two ladies, because I don't think Priscilla and Lisa...
Maybe as they were older, maybe they got to
I think, I don't know, like I said, that was...
the book made it seem like they were never very close.
No, and the sad thing is that Priscilla... I feel for Priscilla right now, because I hope that's not eating her out. Because, you can't go back. You can't get that time back with her. And if that's something they could have bonded together with, that would have been known a long time ago.
Do you think Priscilla read the book? I mean, you would think she would have read the book.
Maybe
when it was just the manuscript, you think that they
I
would have sent it.
I would love to
sent it
hear
to
from her. I would love to hear from her on that part. But
I
at the same
haven't
time,
heard anything from her about the book.
At the same time, I think, I don't know.
And
if I was her, I would not want to hear this, because it would eat me up so bad, because I wouldn't be able to talk to my daughter and say, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm sure that those ladies, Lisa made it clear that they repatched, and they patched things up.
It makes me wonder how things are right now with Riley and Priscilla. Just because the book doesn't make Priscilla look that great. No. And so obviously Priscilla's not even mentioning the book. I'm sure some paparazzi somewhere is going to say, Priscilla, what do you have to say about the book? And then maybe she'll say something.
My take about this is what I said, but I also feel like, I think maybe, I'm going to give it to her if this is true, that maybe she's trying to give this and not take away from Lisa's.
Right. Let Lisa's books stand on its own. Let's not comment on it.
Why is she going to get in the middle? People are going to complain that if she says something, they're like, oh, she's trying to take the limelight away from, she's trying to take the spotlight, whatever. And if she doesn't, they're still complaining, oh, she's not saying anything because she's guilty. I'm like, just leave it alone.
Well,
Lisa said what she had to say, and I'm going to take Lisa's word for it. If she says she's patched things up with her mom before, okay, so let it be it. I mean, what are you going to do? It's gone. It's done. Things. Plus,
you know what? She's got her own book to write, so she could put that in her book.
Right? I'm sure she's going to give us her view of what, as a mother that she did. And I'm sure she probably. What I want to see from Priscilla is to take accountability for what she's done, Adam.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Let her take up accountability. That's what I want to see from Priscilla's book. If I don't see that crap, I'd be mad.
She might take accountability, or she might have a completely different story.
And that's not going to be right.
You never know. Remember when we first saw the book cover? Uh-huh. When it first came out, and they're like, this is what the cover is going to look like. Mm-hmm. And everyone was like, well, they cut Priscilla out. And I was like, well, maybe they're going to have her on the inside of the book cover. Mm-hmm. Wah, wah. No, they didn't put her in there.
No, but I do like the back side of the cover.
That's a great picture, isn't it?
Look at that. Lisa Riley.
So.
But I do think that was a reason why Priscilla's not on the cover, I think.
Yeah.
Not because of what she did, but I think because, again, it was her story about her and her dad. I think this is more of her and missing and grieving her dad.
Elvis was
the everything.
Was the everything to her. To her, didn't they say, like, he was like a god even to her? You know what I mean? He was like, oh my God, like, so.
Yeah. So again, nobody's going to come in after us, but I just feel like people should get the focus more on what Lisa's talking about with her dad. I don't think it has anything to, Priscilla's part of it, but to me, I felt like this book was talking about her grief and how she experienced that. And the things she had to do to overcome it, in a sense, when finally it's a little too late. But I think she came around with that. I think that's why I said she was starting to do things with her daughter.
It's just a shame because I think she was in a good place when she passed.
Doesn't that always happen though?
It was like things were getting better. I think she was going in a good direction. You know? She was hanging out with the Elvis fans at Graceland, you know, all those photos right before she passed.
Yeah.
It's just so sad.
No, but we enjoyed it. And I hope you guys get the book too. If you're able to get this book. We got the hard book, but I know
we got the hard.
But I also know that the paperback there's a large print that's
seen people
floating around, which I like. I think that especially if you got bad vision, like me.
Did you mention...
Yeah, that's another reason why I like the audio, because my eyes will be hurting.
Well, I don't know. We didn't mention this real quick.
Uh-huh.
The audiobook is like this, okay? Every once in a while, like at the beginning and the end of a chapter, they'll have a little clip of Lisa Marie talking. And then it will be Julia Roberts, who speaks in the audio, doing all of Lisa Marie's parts. And then you have Riley Keough speaking for herself. Speaking for herself.
Yeah, which I like.
In the book, so that you know, like, who's talking, the font is different.
Yeah.
So with Lisa Marie, the font is different.
Like it's bold, and then it looks like the other font's like really thin or like italic, really.
That way, it's not so confusing.
In the font. There's a really bold print, and then there's a light print, so you know the difference. Which I liked. Also think that one of the complaints I had about the audio was obviously Lisa Marie's parts, or when they did like the audio clips that shared that Lisa was talking, they were really muffled. I wish they would have been a little bit more clear, because I had difficulty.
The Lisa Marie parts, they are hard to hear.
Sometimes you couldn't, and there's certain words I didn't catch that Lisa said, right. And like maybe I heard that. Or...
And like Mari was saying, and I agree with you, Mari. Nowadays, you could have spent just a little bit more money and cleaned up that audio.
She could have.
Right? There's places you could take that audio to, and it'll sound nice and crisp.
But then I thought maybe it was a crunch time. Maybe she didn't have enough time to do you just don't think about stuff. And Riley's busy, so I'm thinking everybody's got something to do. But
and one last thing that I mentioned to you that I thought about is I kind of wondered, like, the reason, like, this book came out pretty quick. And part of me wondered, like, did Riley finish the book because she felt like that was her mother's wish?
She did say that during the interviews.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she did it in good faith, and like she, but another part of me wonders, like, when Lisa Marie passed, there were a lot of people saying, hey, Lisa Marie owes us money. Lisa Marie didn't pay for this, and part of me wonders, like, did Lisa Marie, did she already sign the book deal, and was she already given maybe an advance?
I don't know.
So maybe the book had to be made?
No.
I don't know. It's just something I wondered.
No.
So, yeah, we'll never know.
No, but like I said, I think of the book's missing a lot of stuff, and I like the way Riley just, helped her mom in completing
She helped her, put it together.
But I also feel like,
together.
Which she done it pretty well. I think I just feel like there's stuff that's missing, and of course, I think that's for everybody. You're not going to know every darn detail.
Sure.
Like, yeah, maybe the gaps were there for a reason. Maybe there's just things you don't need to know. Or maybe Lisa didn't remember. Who knows, right? Things only stick out maybe these were the most important things that stuck out for her. And I think that's what it is what it is. So I'm going to take you for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a great book. I loved it.
Yeah.
If we were reviewing it, I'll give it a thumbs up. But
Give it a thumbs up.
This is not that.
We had no idea this was going to be Oprah's book club.
I know.
We had no idea.
No idea.
But
But we enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are able to. If you guys haven't read the book, feel free to. Hopefully, you guys get a copy of it, or like I said, download the audio from Spotify, whichever. Yeah. I'm sure there's other platforms to download the audio. So
yeah. We're Spotify people.
Yeah, we're Spotify people.
So.
All right, and in no shape or form are we persuading anybody or trying to give everybody's this is just an opinion, you guys. So again, we get in trouble no matter what we say on our channel. Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed it.
Somebody's gonna give us like an 8-paragraph lecture about all the stuff we don't know.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, do your research. It's like, our research, we read the book. We read the book. Okay.
Anyways. We read the audio, so no. It's okay. But
they're like, okay, you read this book, but did you read Child Bride?
Right.
No. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
This was fun. Again, we were happy to finally put another video out that we have not done in a while.
Yeah.
Felt brand new, but it feels good to connect with you guys in this sense. And
this must be what like Muhammad Ali felt like when he came out of retirement.
That's
like,
how it feels.
I'm back at it, man. I'm back at it. AM Vintage has got another video under their belt.
We do want to say thank you to the new subscribers, especially the ones that have been hanging on with us since day one. We appreciate you guys as always.
You guys are great.
Always.
You guys are always there
for the support, and we're hoping that you'll continue to support us and share our videos or shorts, whatever, with everybody. And continue to hang on with us. Hopefully we'll get there soon. Yeah. And grow.
We're like the little engine that could, right?
Yeah, we're still there.
We keep chugging.
We're chugging. We're getting subscribers. I don't know where they're coming from, but we're happy.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for staying with us. Yeah. Yes. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
All right. Well, until next time, take care, everybody.
Take care, you guys.